Yesterday, I told you about the connection between the Council of Conservative Citizens, a white supremacist group, and the admitted Charleston, South Carolina church shooter, Dylan Roof. And the fact that that group, the Council of Conservative Citizens, is not only a white supremacist group, but with regard to the politicians it's affiliated with, they are mostly Republicans. We now have stunning information about that group and its connection to 2016 Republican candidates. The leader of the Council of Conservative Citizens has donated tens of thousands of dollars to Republican campaigns, including those of 2016 candidates Ted Cruz, Rick Santorum, and Rand Paul, according to records that have now been released. Ted Cruz, a Texas senator, said Sunday night that he would be returning about $8,500 in donations that he received from the Texas donor named Earl Holt III, who lists himself as president of the Council of Conservative Citizens. A spokesman for the Cruz campaign said, quote, "We just learned this evening that Mr. Holt had contributed to the campaign. We will be immediately refunding all of those donations." Rand Paul's campaign said yesterday that it plans to send $2,250 they received from Earl Holt III to a victims fund set up in the wake of the shooting. Mr. Holt identified himself in some of the donation records as a Texas slumlord. He's given money to a bunch of current and former Republican members of Congress, including Senator Jeff Flake, Senator Rob Portman, former Representative Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota, Congressman Steve King of Iowa, and former Representative Todd Akin of Missouri. Not really any surprises there in terms of the candidates that seemed appealing to Mr. Holt III.
Yeah, interesting guy, it seems. And I'm glad that some of these candidates are acknowledging that this money has been, has been donated and are doing some, I guess, kind of interesting things with it.
Yeah, I completely, we can't blame. The story here isn't that Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and Rick Santorum took money from this guy, because you can't possibly vet every donor. Candidates receive thousands of donations per week. You can't blame a candidate for legally accepting money from an American citizen. The story here is the systematic and pervasive connection between extremist hate groups made up mostly of white men and one of the two major political parties in the country. As I've said it many times before, obviously not all Republicans are racist, but American racists are overwhelmingly likely to find that their views are more represented in the Republican Party than the Democratic Party. That is proven to us time and again.
Yes, people are going to find that very offensive. And the people who do will say it's always the Democrats making things about race. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the time, it really is about race. And, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that.
When the shooter says, "I shot black people because they are black, and I learned a bunch of this stuff from the Council of Conservative Citizens," it's about race. We have no reason to suspect that it's not. Send us tweets about this, twitter.com/David Pakman Show.